You know, look, we also have Steve Levy sitting in the booth with us. Let's not pretend that Steve Levy is not here.
I don't know, but aren't we trying to recreate the stage feel? But like, it's like what I don't mind acknowledging Steve Levy, but
okay. How about this? I want the audience to know Steve Levy's sitting here, but we're gonna still bring him out 40 minutes from now.
Yeah, because we're gonna try to play D&D later, which I can only assume is gonna go a lot better. ... Because. I guess better meaning that we're going to find out that Jeff and I are bad at playing, because it will be more like the authentic stuff like Nerd Poker on Earwolf, where we're really just playing D&D, and there's no way for us to fall back on.
Well, also, you only brought the one vodka in. We don't have the bottle of vodka on in the room.
However, another advantage of this format is I can press pause, walk out, get a drink, and I can teleport to a state of drunkenness so extreme that
yeah, you can shut the tape. This podcast was designed to make you want to reach in and grab it.
Yeah, I mean, you know what's funny is I was getting so I don't want to say the phrase sick of doing the live podcast, because I don't want anybody that's been a fan to feel like there's a betrayal there or anything like that. Like, we've been doing the podcast for a really long time. It's been a live show. I'm just saying, like, I'm saying this as a positive thing. Like, I was getting to a place where I was really starting to ask myself, and this has been a slow build since November. All of you listening you've had your own little transitional stories, like where you're dealing with fucking shit, which is, and it's part of my thing was, what is dinging?
It's your iPad
Lance
and your
Banks is texting
associated
us.
smart devices. Let's get him on FaceTime.
Dan's FaceTiming Charles Manson right now.
I was starting to ask myself, like, why am I doing this show? Because I'm not, like, I've grown sour on, like, this thing where I stand in front of a microphone and I kind of kvetch about how I don't want people to tell me to tie my shoes, and I wish I was on the moon where no one could bother me, and streets shouldn't be curvy, they should be straight, and all this stuff that was like, it was working really well, and it was working really well under a liberal, bureaucratic, technocratic, like, regime where everything was kind of great, and I didn't have to acknowledge that it was great because I could be a rebel because everything was running in an Orwellianly smooth way. And yet a very backward, bureaucratically, like, absurd way. So I could just decry life's absurdities and society's little intricate wrongdoings and things, and be a hero to myself and pat myself in the back. And then the election happens, and all the women are crying, and I'm like buying a gun, and we're all worried that there's like Nazis in the streets, and it's like politics are now like real life. They're as real to us as our black friends are telling us they've always been. Like, or our female friends are telling us, and that intersects with all this talk that we were having, blah, 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 blah. All of that leads to me at 44, almost a year past November. I'm like, why am I doing this show where I get up every week and I'm like babbling into a microphone? Like, I'm angry now, and I'm fragile, and I'm scared, and all this stuff. But I was also going, I've been doing this show for years. I would be a really stupid, unhealthy person if I changed radically anything about something that had been building for 5 years and growing, in the span of anything less than 6 months, like asking these questions over a period of weeks and weeks and weeks is just not enough. So that's why I was kind of like, I've been building in my anxiety and showing up to these shows, and you've heard me being like, maybe you haven't picked up on it, maybe you have, but like I'm like, I just like, sometimes I'm yelling at the audience, sometimes I'm not. It was all manifestation of that thing. And isn't it interesting how this shit then just happens? Like now I feel, now there's no audience here, so I can just talk about God. And throw your shoe at your laptop all you want, you beautiful atheist who we need to further our society. But it just feels like the universe just kind of makes this shit happen. Like, I had a kind of sense of relief when I got texted that the fire marshal shut the show down, because I was like, oh, that's going to take a long time to rectify. We might have to do our show the way My Favorite Murder does it, the way Duncan Trussell does it. This could be a really fun thing. Like this could be a shot of vitamin B in the show's arm. We can do different stuff with this now. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, you guys seem kind of stoked about it. Spencer's look at that big smiling face.
Oh yeah. Well, the truth is that when in front of an audience, if I looked this blank, everyone would be like angry and confused and like, what's up his ass? But that's kind of my neutral face. So now, I'm free to just let it go and not like smile and nod occasionally to pretend that I'm like, still with it and keeping up.
I mean, doing the live show, being a live podcast has its ups and downs. Like when the show is good, it often is because of the fact that there was the crowd interaction made it good. But sometimes it suffers because of that. Like it's not a guarantee that it makes it better or worse.
Yeah, I also kind of wonder because I had this dream of like moving from Meltdown into the castle, and that we would then be able to do this like feedback loop that I was obsessed about, where we could have people tweeting and then I could answer the tweets and you could show shit, blah blah blah. I thought it would happen more automagically than it did. It turns out if I really want that to happen, I have to start producing like a visual show, and the more visual it gets, the more alienating it would have gotten to our listeners, etc. So there was a lot of incentive or non-incentive to not move in that direction once we got to the new venue. So it starts to occur to me as we're sitting here. I'm like, well, yeah, pump out your audio podcast, and we can Howard Stern it, Joe Rogan it, by bringing the live stream cameras in here. Isn't that more valuable to people? And can't you do all the shit that I'm talking about where you go, hey, if you're watching, remember when Howard Stern did his E! show? It's like, you just have cameras. We could even make them permanently like mounted up in here and use them when we want to use them.
Like Greg Proops on Smartest Man in the World podcast, he does a lot of live shows, and then he does just like audio from his like house or wherever he is, like if he's in a hotel room, from the Fortress of Prupitude, or he calls it the Porpoise of Fruititude. And I like the change. I like sometimes hearing the crowd, but sometimes the live shows have bad audio and they're kind of crap because like the technical difficulties. And sometimes I just like hearing Greg just monologue into a microphone.
Yeah.
In a controlled environment.
I think as we got more comfortable in here. Anyways, whatever. So don't start freaking out. Oh, I hope they don't do this. I hope they do. We're obviously going to do what feels right, but I'm just sharing my current. I think it's cool. This is the right time for a change to come along for me, whether it's temporary, permanent, or it causes some kind of weird fission where we have the podcast, but then when we do have live shows, Los Angeles or not, then we dive into the privilege of, okay, it's going to be a live show. We're going to have slides and cartoons and fucking tap dances and make dog tricks.
Make the live shows more event based and say there's a reason we're doing it live.
And charge $20 a ticket and give it to Planned Parenthood.
And you have one show where you invite only fire marshals.
Steve? Isn't that called a minion? If there's at least 9 fire marshals, we can rewrite fire code.
Yeah.